What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Welcome to the morning bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Was a decent day yesterday, strong enough. Well, thanks to WNBA, really, but strong enough. We went. Let's move over to my action here. 7-4 plus 2.11 units. 5-4 in MLB plus 0.11 units. Some mistakes there. The White Sox first five was believing in Urquidy after that was a terrible decision. And then I should have known that Cincinnati first five line was suspect. And I didn't realize it was suspect. Those are the two losses that got to me. But 5-4, I'll take it. It was unfortunate pushing the Marlins and pushing Pittsburgh for first five. So that was unfortunate. But look, 2-0 in WNBA. We're now 10-1 in our last 11 in WA, up 8.84 units, and it just keeps climbing. So we're 78-54 now. So we're almost at 60% on the season. 59.1 plus 17.24 units, ROI plus 13.06%, and average lines minus 112. I tell you what, I don't know how gamblers are going to go back to the WNBA after the World Cup break. It's just a very dangerous. I mean, even in the NHL after the Olympic break, I struggled. And then you're going to have NFL and college football full stream and think we're going to come back to the WNBA. My imagination, I imagine that I'm not going to come back to the NBA or WNBA, honestly. But it's hard to say that with the success we've had. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We got Justin McKelvey in the house. Stacks play today, number one. Burleson over 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, plus 110. And the Phoenix Mercury at plus 2. That's a fishy line. A Mercury game, Mercury Mystics is a fishy line. I can see why you're attacking it, Justin. We got a sports spectator in the house. Bogey Boy says, looking forward to my first trip to Toronto this weekend. Baseball trip with my daughters. Oh, wow. How much fun is that going to be, Bogey Boy? Says, hearing Steam Whistle Tap Room, Fox on John, The Porch, Earls. The real sports bar that's right beside Scotiabank Arena, which is, right beside Rogers Center. That has the 40-foot TV. That has all. That should be the best sports bar in Toronto. They do a trash job having all the games up. They don't make it feel like you're in a sports book, and it bothers me to no end. Like, I stopped going. But let me put my list together for you, Bogey Boy, and I'll put my list here, and I'll write it here. I'll put my list for the top spots here. And again, I don't really go out anymore, but I will do that for you and have a wonderful time. What a great opportunity to have with the kids, man. Magical, memorable. That's wonderful. I love to hear it. Walla Walla Dose in the house. We got Nicholas Handy, his airness. Bottom of the ninth, bets. A life, ice, turn, buckle, Tommy. Getting that cash as always. BT in the house. Great to see all of you guys. And you were absolutely right about the Nationals. It's so funny how fast things can change because going to the bottom of the fifth, I'd cashed the first three under. Rockies are up 2-0, and I thought I was right. But TJ was on that as well, so excellent work. Low key in the house. Great to see you guys. Shout out to Swiggy on the ones and twos. Let's attack the board. We're seeing things clearly. Coming off a solid day. I mean, any day in the black is a good day. So just counted as a solid day. We got Pig Milk play of the day in the house. Let's copy and paste that here. Pig Milk is in. Put that right under Stacks plays of the day. And let's get right to work. Gerald Jones in the house. Great to see you, Gerald Jones. Love having you back in business running with us. He's on over 4.5 Ks. I've only made 11 bets. And the reason why I say only is because there's a whole bunch of spots that I'm interested in moving on. There's a whole bunch of spots that I had assumed I would be on that I've felt some concern. That fought spot, I do feel some real concern with it. With just the total going from 8 to 8.5. Meatball Jeff, new name chat. Dope says new doc is awesome. Thank you. It just came out on my channel yesterday. We haven't promoted it or anything like that. But I'm so proud of our group, our squad, the guys that come out to the Woodbine, come out to San Antonio, that make this real and honest. That's one thing you don't hear in sports gambling is honesty, and you get that from our group. It's No one's trying to sell you anything. We're trying to beat the books. We're trying to share the best information. We're trying to find the best angles, and we're trying to succeed together. And I'm really proud of the squad, and it's wonderful that they're getting an opportunity, to be showcased a little more than some of them are generally. I love this here. Love this. Colson Montgomery for the DK 250 Grand Slam contest came to bat with bases loaded against Rockford, struck out. It's wild stuff, man. There is Wine Time Sports sweeping the board in MLB. Oh, I love to hear that. I love to hear that, Wine Time. All right, let's get to work. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and let's just attack. We start at 6:40 p.m. Eastern with the Boston Red Sox 71-59, 37-27 on the road at the Miami Marlins 67-64, 41-25 at home. We're at Lone Depot Park in Miami, Florida. I told you guys on the show last night that I had planned on being on the Red Sox full game -1, the Red Sox first 5 -0.5. I also thought if we moved on, beautiful. Papa Ricky got the under 8.5 in the Mets game. I did too. I got 8.5, but it cost me -125. No, I got the 8. What am I talking about? You got the 8.5. That's incredible. I got the 8. I'm proud of getting the 8. Look at that. 8.5 is amazing, Ricky. Great job. There's Josh Witt in the house. Turnbuckle Tommy. Billy Friedrich. Thank you guys for joining us. So I had planned on betting the -1 as soon as it came out. I had thought that I was going to bet this -1 as soon as it came out. I would have 20 to 30 cents of CLV when we got here in the morning. I'd also planned on betting the Red Sox first 5 -0.5 as soon as it came out, but it wasn't available last night. And then I wake up and I've got no CLV. I mean, it's not gone against me, but that was certainly a concern. Let's set this one up. We have Peyton Tolley, 8-6, 3.08 ERA, 1.08 WHIPs, got 2.69 expected ERA. And Tolley's been an absolute boss. Shout out to Tony Trill in the house. Tolley's a monster out there. So we have Brandon Pfaadt and Peyton Tolley pitching today after both getting hit pretty hard in offensive conditions. And I can comfortably put a line through it, especially with Tolley. I think that's easier because, we talk about proof of concept. And although, 2 years ago when the Diamondbacks were in the playoffs and knocking out the Dodgers, it was Pfaadt that was doing it. But he doesn't have the proof as much as I would want him to have. And Tolley does. I mean, Tolley's done this all season long from the time he came up. Remember, he didn't come up till late April 23rd, and he's just looked excellent. The guy looks like a boss on the mound. We know how beloved he is. Shout out to Will Pony in the house getting that cash. So with all of this being said here, we'll go over the line history, but the market's not putting me in a situation where I want to double down here. And TV Jones has some concerns about Mr. Pfaadt, and that's fair. Now, we weren't entirely sure who was going to be pitching in this. Now, I thought it was going to be Tyler Phillips. It was his turn, even though he didn't start last time. He was an opener. But we have Tyler Phillips listed, so we can move forward with Tyler Phillips here. Turnbuckle Tommy's got the Red Sox first 5 -0.5, and he's contemplating the first 3 under 2.5. It is expensive. Let's talk about Tyler Phillips. So 31 appearances, 14 starts, 2 quality, 3-6 with 2 saves, 3.67 ERA, 1.37 WHIPs, got a 4.81 expected ERA. And I feel the same way the Marlins do, where I don't really trust him, and we have better arms in that rotation than him. I understand why he was the primary in that last opportunity to pitch. I just don't really trust him that much. I don't know why. I mean, especially at home. Look at that. He's got an ERA under 3 at home. He gets lit up and smoked on the road, but I guess he should be trusted at home. Life by saying line moving 8 cents towards Tolley, first 5 on Bet Online. Well, I would like to see those things. I would like to gather confidence here, something that I don't really have. Now, we've talked about the starting pitching, but when we get to the bullpens, when we get to the sticks, there are clear advantages for the Boston Red Sox. Marlins bullpen's got a 4.45 ERA, 1.35 WHIP over the last 30 days. Red Sox bullpen 2.52 ERA, 1.04 WHIP. It's a huge advantage with that Red Sox bullpen compared to the Marlins bullpen. Also much fresher. Then when it comes to the sticks, the Marlins are not hitting lefties at all. 231, 652 OPS, not getting on base, don't have power. And the Red Sox are hitting righties. Now, they don't have enormous amounts of power, but 284, 838 OPS. So the website I use for line shopping was down last night, which did cause a bit of a problem on the late show. It's been repopulating this morning. It wasn't available early, and it's still trying to repopulate. It's still having its own issues. So we're going to use the legal books for line shopping today. So we won't get that earliest information, that Bet Online produces at 12:45, but we'll get the decent information, and we can go right to FanDuel to get the early thought process here from at least FanDuel. FanDuel has this at minus 158, and they actually opened it before Bet Online yesterday. Minus 158, and that's where it is right now. Oh, no, sorry, they moved. That was 11:48 p.m., of course. I was like, did they open up at 11:48 a.m.? Sorry, of course, this line wasn't available. I'm tripping. But this line's not moving here. We'll move over to Circa. Circa has this opening up minus 160 down to minus 158. There's no sign here that I should invest more in this game. It's an extremely public position I'm on. 94% of tickets, 93% of cash on Boston. 60% of tickets on the under and 58% cash on the over. We got Nasty Nate in the house that says Red Sox smash. Tony Trill says Red Sox still feel like they have a shot at winning the East the way they've been playing. Yeah, it's a fun division right now. The other divisions in the AL are, trash. But with all this being said, I'm not that comfortable with my action. The market's not giving me any comfort. Just sitting here at a reasonable price. So I'm not adding the first 5 minus a half. I'm only on the Red Sox full game minus 1. And there's not much more to it than that. When we get to the totals, we'll touch on the totals because I was only talking about the side there. Let's get in on this total. We have, a 7.5, and I guess that's a big part of this. Is just that it's a low volatility situation. This total at 7.5 at Circa at 10:23 p.m. last night. It's not moved a cent. Slightly juiced to the over. I'll deal with that. We got 9 Legacy in the house. Thank you for joining us. Flank steak play of the day is in. It is the Athletics. The Athletics are clearly a sharp play. I can't trust their bats. I wonder if I can get there after we talk about it longer. But so I'm on the Red Sox full game minus 1. Jerry Davis just moved on totally for the win at plus 109. Let's roll on. Let's roll on. No, it's not. There's going to be no more investing for me in that one. 6:40 p.m. Eastern here. Tampa Bay Rays 77-53, 34-30 on the road to the Detroit Tigers, 61-69, 32-31 at home. We're at Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. I make sure we got the perfect situation here for our stat. We do. Okay, beautiful. Minus 7% runs, minus 17% homers, minus 1% doubles and triples. And we have plus 3% singles. We have Ian Seymour going up against Jackson Jobe. And my man TJ, he's bouncing today back to Virginia, but he thinks that the Tigers are just a straight fade right now, that they've thrown in the towel, and that the Rays are playing great baseball, and we can simplify things in this game, and he could easily be right. I'm a big fan of Ian Seymour. You guys know that. We talked about that last night. It's funny. I expect better results from what he delivers here. I expect better results. Last start, 5 innings, 3 earned runs. He allowed 3 solo shots and a 5-1 loss at home versus the Jays. I mean, imagine allowing 3 home runs to the Jays lineup. That's not easy, man. That is not easy. He had 2 quality starts. I guess that's 3 quality starts before that one where he allowed the 3 solo shots. He's allowed 6 home runs in his last 4 starts. Always got that nice, beautiful high K count. We have him 33 strikeouts and 4 walks over his last 4 starts. There's a lot to find appealing here. Turnbuckle Tommy agreeing that Tigers are a straight fade. My guy Wine Time Sports with his action. Thank you for sharing that with us, Wine Time. I will copy and paste that, and we will go over it. Very helpful information. So then we have Jackson Jobe. Jackson Jobe on the other side. One of the main reasons why they felt that Mize could go along with Skubal. I know Skubal in the contract here is a little easier, but Jackson Jobe here. Also, with his airness saying maybe a first 3 under here, one thing I should have said about that first game is I do think that the market is indicative of Phillips pitching well. And if we trust that the Marlins can't hit lefties, I could see how a first 300 would be in that game. But it sort of goes against my X's and O's. So I'm not on it. The first 300, 2.5 minus 155 anyways in that first game, which is extremely expensive. Lucky Power in the house. Great to see you, Lucky Power. So back to this spot. I like Ian Seymour. Let's talk about Jackson Jobe. Third overall pick in the 2021 draft out of high school. This guy's a beast. Had the Tommy John surgery in May 2025. Still throwing 100 plus right now. And he's had 3 starts since he's been back in the show. And the first start was at the Giants. It was in really nice conditions for him against a weak team, and he was great. 1 hit over 5 innings, doesn't allow a run. Second start, 3 2/3, allowed 6 earned runs at home to the White Sox. Then he goes back on the road against Skeens in a high-pressure situation, pitches well. I'd like to back him after a high-pressure situation, handling it really well. Now, he's only had the 1 start at home, and he got lit up by the White Sox, but that's, such a small sample size. I don't think we put too much onus into that. Bullpen-wise, both these bullpens are pitching with similar numbers over the last 30 days. The Tigers bullpen, 4.18 ERA, 1.21 whip. The Rays bullpen, 4.17 ERA, 1.18 whip. When it comes to the sticks, the Tigers are devoid of any power against left-handed bats or left-handed arms right now. A 245, 699 OPS. Rays versus righties, 279, 780 OPS. That is the Rays are just a professional outfit, and they're hitting right now. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Again, we're using the legal books today for our line history, as my offshore site is down. We have we'll start again at FanDuel. FanDuel's got that minus 126 opener. Got up to minus 132 for a bit. Now we're right back at minus 126. The Rays not expensive and not moving in their direction. This total is the low. Low, it's a 7.5. I'm hesitant to back Jobe here, which I think a lot of us are, but I don't really have the proof of concept that, for instance, when in his rehab starts, he had 17 strikeouts and 4 walks, over 15 and a third. Now, obviously, it's easier where he was pitching in AAA, but in the show, he's got 11 strikeouts and 5 walks in 14 innings. Nothing's coming easy for him. And as you can see, 80% of the tickets, 88% cash on the Rays, 65 and 87 on the over. Rodzwag says, but bet under the total in Detroit home games after batting 200 or worse over a 3-game span. The under's record during the 2026 season, 7-0. Jerry Davis says, my pick last night was the Rays, but why is it so affordable? So if we were going to talk about why the Tigers would be so affordable here, wouldn't we come just to one conclusion? And that's that Jackson Jobe is going to pitch really well here. Mark Stowski says he's interested. He likes that Baker's out. I think will be a close game. Didn't bet, but he liked Detroit yesterday. So let's take a look at. Let's do a cost comparison on first threes, and we'll move on to our next spot on the board. So the Red Sox Marlins are 7.5. That's minus 115 juice to the over, and 365 has that under 2.5. Very, very expensive at minus 155. This is 15 cents. Full game 15 cents stronger to the under. If that was just going to correlate immediately to the first 3, well then we would see a minus 170, which I find very hard to believe. So let's see what we're getting here on the first 3. Here we're getting a first 3 under minus 140. Wow. So despite being 15 cents more expensive on the under, the books expect this totally Phillips game to go under the first 3 with higher probability than this one. Yeah, I guess there's nothing for me here. And I can say that comfortably knowing that, I've already got 11 bets. There's spots I really, really like. So I'm off. At this point, I'm off. Shout out to Londo in the house. Says today is a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day to get that shmoney, Londo. Let's get to work here. We move on to 6:45 p.m. Eastern. Colorado Rockies 50-80, 23-42 on the road at the Washington Nationals, 61-71, 27-36 at home. We're at Nationals Park in Washington D.C. Let's get right into the weather here to get us started. Plus 9% runs, plus 11% homers, plus 9% doubles, triples, and plus 4% singles. I, like many of you, thought that this would be a spot where we saw, old man Kyle Freeland. But we have Mason Adams listed. So we also, there's no primary or anything like that. And there's an idea that uh, Mason Adams can't go because he just threw 38 yesterday. Let's go over that here very, very quickly for Mason Adams. Okay, so Mason Adams hasn't thrown this year, so that's not the issue here. Let me grab Mason Adams over here at BR and get this. Okay, here we go. We're in business here. So, 13th round pick in the 2022 draft out of Jacksonville University is Mason Adams, and this is his major league debut here. This year, he's a 26-year-old. This year, he's pitched in rookie ball, high A, and in Triple A. He was pitching in the White Sox organization, and then he moved over to the Rockies. There, he got 3 starts in Albuquerque for the Rockies, 13 innings. He struck out 13. He walked 3. He allowed just 9 hits and 3 earned runs, and he looked really good. And now he's getting the opportunity here, a right-hander. So Mason Adams. So that's who we're going to see here, Mason Adams. Rozwak also back in that Rays action up was saying they've won each of their last 9 road games following a win. So Mason Adams, I don't know. Obviously, you can tell by the breakdown. I don't know much about Mason Adams. This was not a highly thought of prospect coming up. Was in the White Sox organization, couldn't get up there, and now is in the Rockies organization. Only took 3 starts there. So I see Nats all day from his airness, and Nats team total over. Let's talk about Andrew Alvarez on the other side. 2-5, 3.60 ERA, 1.34 WHIP, 4.45 expected ERA. Life Ice saying that no advantage with Adams, plus 130 full game, plus 130 first 5. That's really interesting, isn't it? That's an important piece of this puzzle, I believe, that they're saying that there's no advantage. There's multiple things you can do with a pitcher like Adams, and one of the easiest things to do, and there's nothing wrong with this, is just to fade him. And I know that there's cappers that believe this is not the time of the year where you bring up your best prospects. Especially if you're out of the race, this is where you bring up questionable entities that you want to learn more information about. And I know Matty Ice loves to fade this type of situation, but the books are certainly not giving you the feeling that this is a simple fade. Alvarez has been really good the last 5 starts. I mean, he's pitching well. He's not going deep in the games, but he's pitching really well. So this is a interesting situation. So his airness says that plus 130 is high in a Major League Baseball game. I don't think there's. I think there's truth to that. Just because the Nats are bad at home. 27 and 36 at home compared to 23 and 42 on the road for the Rockies. And Spooner says the White Sox were looking at him as a rotation piece with the arms they had in 2025 before the injury. That's an important note. Thank you for that, Spoons. So, again, you want to be pushed. You want things to correlate. You want the confidence. I don't know if we're getting that at this point. Let's talk about these bullpens. Nats bullpen 3.62 ERA, 1.29 WHIP. Rockies bullpen 4.13 ERA, 1.44 WHIP. We saw the Rockies bullpen look pretty terrible last night. Against lefties, Rockies rating 227 with a 664 OPS. Very poor. Nats versus lefties 238, 756 OPS. Let's get into the line history. I'll give the offshores one more try right now and see if they're available for us to study. And I don't think they will be, but we'll give it. I know they're trying to. And no. Okay. That's fine. So we'll screw that here and we'll stick with these legal books. Okay, so let's break this one down. We're sitting here at an 8.5, juice to the under. FanDuel has this at minus 146 for the Nats. They did open it at minus 136. That was only available for 4 minutes before it started moving towards the Nats. We'll also look at price difference first 5 in full game. I want to see what it says over at Pinnacle. But sitting here with 92% of the tickets on Washington, and 43% of the cash is pretty strange. 71% of tickets on the over and 89% of cash on the over. And Spooner's on the first 302.5. Could be a real sneaky one. Could be a very real sneaky one. Trusting Adams in this situation while the books are trusting him. I can completely understand the thought process around that here. I mean, clearly you've done your study with Adams, so it makes it easier to press the button. Here we have the Rockies sitting at minus 147, full game at Penny. First 5 minus 150. So that was the Nats. Sorry, the Rockies are plus 132. First 5 plus 127. And Jerry Davis going to move on the Nats. First 5 minus a half. I'm not. Something just kind of feels up here. I'm not going to back Adams, but I'm not going to make a move here on the Nats. So this was similar to our show last night. You know, I came in with some real action, but we got to the first 3 games and there was none. This is a bet I want to make. Let's move on to the next spot on the board here. 7:05 p.m. Eastern. Houston Astros 65 and 66, 32-31 on the road at the Yankees. 74 and 56, 33 and 28 at home. We're in the Bronx. I want to fade Will Warren so badly that I could do it with Ethan Peko first 5 plus a half here. And it's something that I want to definitely talk out before I have I don't have the confidence to do it. So I could just leave it off. But this was something that appealed to me, but it's just because of my desperate need to fade Will Warren. So let's move into this Peko Astros Yankees spot. A little bit different. First off, Yankee Stadium minus 6% runs, plus 9% homers, minus 20% doubles and triples, and minus 6% singles. We have Peko, the 9th ranked prospect in the Astros system. So, 6th round pick out of Towson in 2023. He was their minor league pitcher of the year in 2024, and he's dealt with a lot of injuries since then. Look at Justin McKelvey on Astros plus 120. Very interesting. And low-key liking the Astros first 5. Okay, well, this is starting to help. The barn burner play of the day from Josh Witt is the Astros team total over 2.5, and Alvarez over that must be Jordan, over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Of course, sorry, we were just talking about different Alvarez. Let me pop this up here. Barn burner play of the day is in. Barn burner play of the day is in from Josh Witt. Turnbuckle Tommy says Yankees are 9-1 to the under in their last 10 games. Yeah, their offense is abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. And speaking though of Peko, he hasn't been that good this year. 4.57 ERA, 4.68 expected ERA. He's 4-6 in 20 games, 18 starts. All 3 of those games are coming, all but 3 of those games are coming at the AAA level. Had the thoracic outlet syndrome surgery, in December. Last year he had the strained forearm that cost him a lot of time. Spooner says Peko has great lefty splits in the minors. He faced a righty-heavy lineup the first game. I like him to pitch better than his first game with all the lefties in the Yanks lineup. I like that breakdown too a lot. And I want to fade Will Warren. 4.43 ERA, 1.40 whip, 4.67 expected ERA. Mark Sasowski says this market is okay with the over money. I don't want to back these starters. Is this a pure fade of offense and weather? So I told you how I was treating Will Warren with enormous suspicion coming out of the All-Star break. And what happened? Will Warren cost me money, and he was spectacular at Wrigley Field. And then I'm not sure if I faded him immediately in that next start, but I didn't like what I saw at home versus Cardinals. And then we faded him the last 2 starts. He's won the game. We didn't get paid on August 19th either. That was just the first 5 over 5 that we pushed when he went up against Bassett. And we got a sesh video on a prop in this game. I love to hear it. And Spooner says, remember, his AAA numbers are from the PCL. It's a very important point. Troy Torrance says, looking for the Blue Jays Royals. It's probably my favorite game on the card, Troy. Or I guess it's my second. I guess the Giants Reds is my favorite. But so Yankees, it's great to see you, Troy. Yankees bullpen 2.69 ERA, 1.17 whip. Astros bullpen 3.49 ERA, 1.09 whip. So you get very strong bullpens backing up somewhat questionable starters. When we have the sticks, the Astros versus righties. Yeah, Thomas Maggio. I'm on the other side, man. I can't wait to fade Lugo with Scherzer, but we'll get there in a second. And I've invested pretty heavily. Astros versus righties, 248, 728 OPS. Yankees versus righties, 201, 638 OPS. So you have an advantage with the sticks, clearly, with the Astros. Let's take a look at the first 5 price difference here. Full game, first 5 here with Astros, Yankees. The Yankees are at minus 138 full game. First 5 minus 140. 138 minus 140. Not a big difference there. So the Astros are plus 128 full game. First 5 plus 121. And you get the first 5 plus a half at minus 115. You know, that is appealing. That is really appealing. Let's just see if we can look at these legal books and see if we can derive any more confidence here. The Yankees are minus 138 here at FanDuel. They opened up minus 142. They got up to minus 146. There was a move against them at 7 this morning. We talk about this, and we'll look at Circa there as well. When we talk about the total here, it opened up at 9. It dropped down to 8.5, but that's minus 124 to the over. So it's I don't even know if that's a quarter of a run move. When we take a look at Circa and see how they've handled this, Circa's got the Yankees at minus 140. They opened up the Yankees at minus 143. It's all, pretty appealing here. We take a look at the cash flow. You got 82% of the tickets on the Yankees and just 27% of the cash. The total is a pick 'em type situation ticket-wise. 57% of the tickets on the over and 52 on the under. Well, I like this. I'm going to move on it. So I just needed a little bit more confidence. I think we've got it here. I'm going to be on the Astros first 5 plus a half, and I'm going to fade Warren, and I'm going to deal with those consequences. And so let's roll. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board here, and this is such a fun baseball game. Kansas City Royals 58-74, 22-44 on the road at the Toronto Blue Jays 64-68, 33-33 at home. We're at the Rogers Centre in Toronto, Ontario. The sun has come out. It is a nice day here in Toronto. We've had some rainy days of late. Rogers Centre minus 2% runs, even for homers, plus 1% doubles and triples, and minus 2% singles. And we have Seth Lugo going up against Maximus Scherzer here. And look, I think that I'll start with Scherzer, but we'll break down Lugo's statistical profile but I think this is exactly what we're talking about when a pitcher's numbers aren't really relevant for how the pitcher is pitching. And I have been screaming fade Scherzer for a year and a half from the mountaintops, and I'm backing him here first 3 and first 5. And I'll explain it here in a little bit. Let's start with Seth Lugo, 4.71 ERA, 1.38 whips, got a 5.17 expected ERA. For a lot of the year, he was still pitching well at home. But that's even stopped of late. He's been getting annihilated on the road all year. He was bad last year. If we have, shout out to our guy, Just My 2 Cents in the House, and Ricky Levine, great to see you guys. If we were, a lot of us, and I'm one of them, do have a bias about Lugo because of how well he pitched in 2024. He's not pitching well right now, and he should not be backed. In his last 4 starts, he's allowed 18 earned runs. Now, that first start was tough. It was in the thin air Colorado, so 5 earned runs in 5 innings. That was tough. Then he has a quality start at home versus the Cubs. So you could say he's only had 2 bad starts. Look who he's had it against. At the Angels, who can't hit, 5 earned runs over 4 2/3. And then at home versus the Athletics, who can't hit. Londo has got his hot Swedish girlfriend play today. Red Sox money line. I'll copy and paste that. Going for 5-1 today here. Sorry, let me get this copied and pasted. So the Lugo's not pitching very well here. All right, so and Troy Torrance says, the Jays have won 12 consecutive off a loss, and the Royals have won 8 straight going on the road. Let me talk about Gampy. And we've made fun of Gampy. We've done all that. He was dealing with many injuries. Like Gampy slipped in the shower. And right forearm tendonitis, left ankle inflammation, right thumb issue. He comes back and pitches. We fade him enormously. And then he goes right back on the IL for back spasms. He's on the back spasm. He's on the IL for a long time. And that was smart. That was smart. He was on. Just make sure you're healthy, Gampy, before you come back and talk to us. So he went on the IL after a start June 10th. He didn't come back till July 27th. And he showed us on July 22nd in Buffalo when he was perfect through 5 innings that he was healthy. And we hadn't seen him healthy in a long time. July 27th, he has his first start. We fade him only because, he was perfect in that rehab start, and that's what I've been doing lately, and it's been working. That next start at home versus the Cardinals, he was completely in control. He allowed 1 earned run over 6 innings, but the Cardinals weren't hitting at all. That next start at Philadelphia was phenomenal. It was extremely offensive conditions. He allowed 2 earned runs over 5 1/3. He challenged everybody. He wasn't afraid of anybody. That next start at home versus the Red Sox was really impressive. 1 earned run over 5 innings. Then we get that start Wednesday, August 19th, which is a gift to us. And now look, I could be wrong and lose this bet. There's no locks, no guarantees. The statistical profile of that game, if you didn't watch it, you would think he had a bad start. He had a great start. The 7 earned runs is because horrific errors by Jesus Sanchez, where he lost the ball in the lights, and they don't count as errors. If it never actually touches the ball with his glove, losing the ball in the lights or stadium environment is classified as a mental mistake or a hit rather than a mechanical fielding error. So in the first inning, Caminero hit a fly ball. Sanchez lost sight of it against the roof. It lands for a ground rule double. In the fourth, with the bases loaded, Sanchez charged inward, lost the ball in the stadium lights. I mean, even his route was like insane. And, all of those runs were earned runs, all of them. And that's great for us because people are going to look at Scherzer and see a 7.40 ERA and a 1.51 whip. They're not going to see the 4.69 expected ERA. And they're going to see that they're going to think that he's a fade. And the Royals are hot. And look, I'm not, again, this is just how I see, and I wanted this so badly. As soon as I was going over it, I was like, oh man, I cannot wait to bet this baseball game. So the Royals bullpen is improved a little bit, but it's still poor. The Jays bullpen, I don't trust at all. I do not trust at all. So then we have the sticks. Royals versus Reds, 238, 703 OPS. Then the Jays don't have power versus righties. I mean, it's a problem. It's a concern that you're going to have consistently here. Let's get into the line history here for this one and the price difference and go over exactly how I bet it and all of that. The Jays are minus 126 full game. First 5, they're minus 120. That was the case last night. The books weren't telling us that we have an advantage with Scherzer, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I got the Jays first 3 and first 5. I got the Jays first 3 at minus 125, and I got the Jays first 5 at minus 119. Troy Torrance says the Blue Jays have the massive bullpen advantage. Statistically, they do. I do not trust this bullpen. I get very uncomfortable when this bullpen's out there. So I want to take advantage of what I believe is numbers that aren't relevant to how a pitcher is pitching, and that is what I think is my advantage. Now, like Spoon says, I'm a jaded fan. So again, I have my own issues here. I have my own issues here with their bullpen. So then TV Jones says Blue Jays are nothing. Royals bullpen look good for a series. That bullpen is a horrendous unit. No trust. So look, for me, it's simple and clear and comforting. And I'm on that first 3 and first 5. That first 5 has moved a cent in my direction. I don't even need the confidence. 62% of tickets, 70% of the cash is on the Jays. 68% of tickets, 94% cash is on the over. And then when we get to the line history, it's been a 4-cent move at circa minus 121 to minus 125. Look, I'm very comfortable with the situation. So Jays first 3 and first 5 for me. Backing Maximus Scherzer here. And it's going to be a fun watch. It's going to be a really, really fun watch, man. All right, let's roll on. Next spot on the board is Milwaukee Brewers at the New York Mets City Field in Queens, New York. We do have some run-suppressing weather here. Minus 7% runs, plus 3% homers, minus 26% doubles and triples, and minus 2% singles. We have Kyle Harrison going up against Zach Thornton. We got Lucas Ryan in the house as both get hit today. Are you talking about the Scherzer? Oh, in the Toronto game. Okay. I really like Scherzer. I think he's more than capable of completely. Look at the last 2 home starts Scherzer's had. What's he allowed? What 2 earned runs in 12 innings? 11 innings? 11 now? That was against the Red Sox and the Cardinals. Cardinals are easy. I get it. Josh Wood says Harrison's not good on the road. He's not. And I have decided not to care. And there's certain pitchers today that do have bad home roads, but it's like Seth Lugo that I cared about. So, you can call it very questionable here. Now, we talk about, Harrison not or struggling, when he's, in not at home. And that last start of the Padres was egregious. And he didn't look good in those 2 starts when his forearm was hurting him. The last 2 road starts. But I think that we can, if we look past those road starts, if we go back to before he was dealing with any kind of forearm issues at all, this is the 4th start of his return. But if we go back, let's go back to when he was healthy, which I think he is right now. And also, it was a very relaxing start last time against Seattle. So Saturday, June 20th, he allows 2 earned runs over 6 1/3 at the Braves. He gets crushed by the Athletics at Sutter Health Park. He goes to the Cubs. He doesn't allow a run over 7 innings, strikes out 11 and walks 1. At the Nationals, 1 earned run over 6 innings. At the Pirates, no earned runs over 6 innings, strikes out 12 and walks 1. So, look, I get it. I get that the focus can be on Kyle Harrison being unable to pitch on the road. I think this is a great run-suppressing situation against the lineup that's not too tough in a game where he can step up here. And I did not look past his road starts, Tommy. I just tried to explain it. And if you weren't also doing that, you wouldn't be on the first 3 under 2.5. I don't think, Tommy. So I think there's some of what I'm saying that you're doing here as well. Let's talk about Zach Thornton. 3-4, 3.04 ERA. 4.85 expected ERA, 1.15 WHIP. We have Rod Zwacki's 10-star play of the day here on the New York Mets. Let's grab that here and lock this in. Here, thank you for sharing that with us right under Londo's play of the day. So I think that Kyle Harrison is going to pitch fine here. And I also think that again, when you don't have proof of concept in the last 6 weeks or 8 weeks, I know that can be disconcerting to hear, or it could be easily disbelieved or easily looked past, and that's fine. We have Zach Thornton, 3-4, 3.04 ERA, 1.15 WHIP, 5th round pick in 2023 draft out of Grand Canyon. And I don't really trust him that much. I know that his numbers are pretty good. He was good in Binghamton. He was not that good in Syracuse, and then he was really good in the show. There's a lot of tape on him now that hasn't really affected him. He's had quality starts in 2 of his last 4, but in 3 of those starts, he got strikeouts at home versus the Padres in his last start. But if you look at the 3 starts previous to that, he had 7 strikeouts and 6 walks. So, he can get soft contact. He can get out of trouble. Clearly, his expected ERA is much higher than his actual ERA, and it's a problem when he gets a lot of ground balls. When it comes to the bullpens, these are very, very good bullpens. So I think if either Thornton or Harrison get in trouble, we have 2 elite bullpens. Mets bullpen, 2.65 ERA, 1.13 WHIP over the last 30 days. Very, very good. The Brewers bullpen, phenomenal. Of course it is. Of course it's phenomenal. 2.56 ERA, 1.13 WHIP. And then when it comes to the lefties, they're both hitting well enough. Brewers versus lefties, 248, 755 OPS. Mets versus lefties, 239, 752 OPS. Let's get into the line history here for our Mets spot. I've moved on 2 bets here. I have the Brewers on the -1 line, and I have the full game under 8 at -125. At the time, Bet365 had the 7.5 to the under at +100. They were only the only book that had that. Much sharper books were -10s, -15s. I couldn't understand why they had the +100. So I could have taken the no vig situation. Instead, I want the 8 to be a push. So I moved it to an 8 at -125. When I woke up this morning, that 8 at Pinnacle is -142. We'll see what it is right now here. We have the Brewers at -157 full game. And first 5, they're -152. So very small difference there. Mets +145 full game. First 5 +131. Again, very, very minimal. And when we get to that total that I got at 8, that under 8 is now -150. And like there's nothing wrong with first 3 unders. I love the bet. You remember I switched everything over to first 3s last year from 5s. But I don't know why we wouldn't want the full game when we have these bullpens that we trust so much here. Jerry Davis says Harrison hasn't had a start against the Mets lineup, really. Only 3 hitters from 2024. So I really like the situation I'm in. I like the way that Harrison's being perceived right now. Now, the Brewers are very public. So, you guys are clearly on the sharp side here with the Mets. But I'm very comfortable in my situation here. And that's the full game -1 on the Brew Crew and the under 8. So that's my action here. Let's roll on. And Spooner with a really funny, the 70 ERA home road split difference last year as well, except it was on the road where he was shining and not at home. Okay, let's roll on here. And we also have bet under the total. There was 2 really great angles that Rod gave us last night for the under. That was one of them there. Bet under the total in Milwaukee games against left-handed starters. The under's record during 2026 season, 25-10. He also had 11 of the Mets' last 12 home games have gone under the total. So, look, I don't see why he doesn't have a really good start today. Honestly, we're 4th start out of the IL. Forearm should, so we'll see it. We'll deal with it. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board is tricky. LA Dodgers, Atlanta Braves. Dodgers 80 and 51, 40 and 25 on the road. At the Atlanta Braves 76 and 55, 42 and 23 at home. We're at Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's get right into the weather conditions that we're dealing with at Truist. Plus 5% runs, plus 7% homers, plus 6% doubles and triples, and plus 7% singles here. Oh, you got did I skip a game? I didn't. We're at Dodgers Braves now. Here. Swiggy, my man. Dodgers Braves. There we go. Beautiful. So plus 5% runs, plus 7% homers, minus 6% doubles, triples, and plus 7% singles. We are in business. There's Ski Profit in the house. It says fighting that baseball fight. Yeah, Ski saw me in the. Finally, when I was in Vegas with him in All-Star break, it was such a relief not to be betting baseball, man. Such a battle. Sharpie in the house as well. Great to see you. Okay, so let's roll. We're at Truist Park, Atlanta, Georgia. We have Ty Glass now coming off of the IL. So he's been out since May 8th due to lower back spasms. And you're out from May 8th until August 25th. 305 Raider in the house as well. Great to see all of you guys. Thank you for rolling with us. Sharpie says Glass now since 2025 when facing a team with 6+ who chase. Super elite. Has a 24 and 2/3 with a 1.49 ERA and 39 strikeouts in that span. Wow. Now, look, his rehab starts, he was incredibly good. He built up to 77 pitches in his last rehab start as well. So overall, 4 minor league rehab starts. He allowed 2 runs on 3 hits, 4 walks, struck out 20 over 13 and 2/3. So obviously he's an elite level pitcher. In 39 and 2/3 this year, he has 49 strikeouts. He has a 2.72 ERA, 2.61 expected ERA, 0.83 WHIP. And last year we only saw him for 90 and 2/3. So this is kind of a part and parcel for what we get from him each and every year. Let's talk about Bryce Elder, 8-7, 3.92 ERA, 1.23 WHIP. He's got 4.02 expected ERA. He's been excellent this year. He had some clear in June, and he was horrific. At one point, he allowed 29 earned runs over a 30-inning span. At one point, it was worse than that. Over 3 starts, he allowed 19 earned runs over a 14-inning span. In those 14 innings, those 3 starts, he allowed 27 hits, 5 home runs. It was pretty ugly. But they gave him, and his velocity diminished, they gave him a break, a 1 week off, and he started pitching much, much better again. And right now, he's had the one bad start since he was given the break. The break was right before he got one more start before the All-Star break. So Sharpie, and he did go 77 pitches in his last rehab start. So Sharpie thinks that, he can go 90-ish here. I like Elder, and I don't really know what Glasnow is going to do, but it's pretty easy to believe in both of these pitchers. I think that's a pretty easy thing to do. Braves bullpen 4.10 ERA, 1.41 WHIP over the last 30 days, not being throwing very well. Dodgers bullpen 4.72 ERA, 1.36 WHIP. Either are they? Dodgers versus righties 243, 695 OPS, not hitting hard, and the Braves are not hitting righties at all. 226, 36 OPS. Look at those numbers. Great stuff from Turnbuckle Tommy. Says Braves have 61 plate appearances versus Glasnow with a 127 average and a 413 OPS. And Dodgers have 77 plate appearances versus Elder with a 239 average and a 770 OPS. So it's a really fun situation, but one that I've not moved on. But I still think I could get there. I think one thing that struck me was the total at 8.5. That did surprise me. Circa's moved this total 10 cents towards the over at 8.5. These are 2 very strong pitchers in not offensive conditions for a total that high with 2 teams that aren't hitting righties. I mean, that is a surprise. I don't see how it couldn't be. We have over at Circa 1 cent move, or I guess just a tightening of VIG, basically no movement at all. Why don't we go to FanDuel and see what they've done with this line? They've God, this has been available for a long time. We've moved just a tightening of VIG there too. No movement to either side. On the total here, we opened up at 8.5 minus 105 to the over. They just the 45 minutes ago, they moved it to minus 120 to the over. So then this, and I'm not going to get there, but this first 3 should be really, now again, the bullpens aren't pitching well, but this first 3 you would guess would be quite expensive. This is an 8.5 minus 120 to the over. So you would guess that this is minus 135 to the over 2.5 and minus 105 to the under with this movement. So let's see what it is here. The first 3 at bet 365. It's a pick 'em each way, which does surprise me with the movement. Yeah, I'm going to have to stay off of it. Spooner says you won't see Glasnow under minus 150 again till deep in the playoffs. Spoons, are you moving on this game? I'm not going to move on this game. There's spots that I have real conviction on, and I don't have it here. So we roll on. Turnbuckle Tommy I see the F3 under. Okay, first 3 under 2.5. I get it, but I'm not on it. It just doesn't correlate here with the market the way I need it to. But the X's and O's, I completely get it. Let's roll on. 7:40 p.m. Eastern. We have the Texas Rangers 65 and 66, 29-37 on the road at the Chicago White Sox 68 and 62, 39-26 at home. We are at Rate Field in Chicago, Illinois. And okay, you are on them, Spooner. Thank you, man. Spooner is on the Dodgers here. So we have Mr. DeGrom here, and he is a tricky pitcher to cap. Now, the books and the lines really do give us a hint as to how to move on him. 3.77 ERA, 1.13 WHIP. His dramatic splits are one to attack. But let's talk about the weather quickly. Sorry, it was up there. Minus 3% runs. Thank you, Swiggy. Minus 8% homers, minus 1% doubles and triples, and we have even for singles. Oh, you're not on the first 3 because it's too cheap. Okay. Thank you. Sorry, Turnbuckle Tommy. Thank you. We have Wager Detective here talking about Anthony K on 4 days rest. Team record 8-3. Run differential plus 17. Look at that. There we go here for K. We got to talk about DeGrom first off, though, because his splits are tricky. They're very, very tricky. He's been so bad on the road, especially of late. I don't even think that these numbers are as extreme as what we're seeing. So the last start, he goes 2 innings, allows 2 earned runs, 6 hits. He was just getting touched up, and they moved him, and they said it was right tricep fatigue, but there was no issue with him at all. He said there was nothing wrong with him. They did the imaging, nothing was wrong. They gave him a bullpen session. It went well, and they held his start back a day, but they didn't have to. And then, we had Topset in our chat, very, very, very bullish on him. And then what did DeGrom do? He was spectacular. But again, that was at home. 6 innings, 1 hit, doesn't allow runs, strikes out 10, walks 1. That was against a national team that wasn't hitting. If we go over his road starts, he's getting annihilated. So 2 earned runs over 2 innings at the Angels, 5 earned runs over 3 1/3 at the Astros, and then 5 earned runs over 4. Oh no, that was at home versus the White Sox. It's another. Oh yeah, the 5 earned runs over 3 1/3 against Astros. But so it's not even that many road starts too, which is also adds another layer of trickiness here. He's coming off a phenomenal start. Let's talk about Anthony Kay on the other side. Anthony Kay, 9 and 6, 3.96 ERA, 1.33 WHIP. He's got a 4.84 expected ERA. And we have TV Jones very high on him. Says Anthony Kay is Himothy. DeGrom not good on the road, and the Rangers went bananas yesterday. This ain't happening today for a surreal pitcher in Kay. Anthony Kay's pitching at a high level right now, and the Rangers aren't hitting lefties. Although, good God, is this lineup so dramatically different with Corey Seager in it? I mean, every time he went up, he had at least a double last night, it felt like. I mean, it's like I couldn't understand it at one point. Like, why are you even pitching to him? I mean, he's so locked in right now. Kay, 6 innings, 2 earned runs in his last start, 2-0 loss at home versus the Braves. He's been really good. He hasn't allowed – only 1 start over his last 8 has he allowed more than 2 earned runs. Only 1 start. And that was allowing 3 earned runs. So, TV Jones has every right to really love the trajectory and how Kay is pitching right now. He's going deep into games. In 3 of his last 4 starts, gone at least 6 innings. When we get to the bullpens here, White Sox bullpen 3.38 ERA, 1.25 WHIP. Rangers bullpen 4.53 ERA, 1.45 WHIP. And then when it comes to the sticks, White Sox aren't hitting righties, and the Rangers aren't hitting lefties. His airness looking at the first 3 under here. Turnbuckle Tommy says Rangers have 150 plate appearances versus K with a 182 average and a 507 OPS. Let's get into the line history here for this spot, DeGrom versus K. We have at Circa sitting here with a slight move towards the Chicago. Well, it's really just a tightening of vig here again. Tiny, tiny, tiny move to the White Sox, so nothing much happening in there. But you do have 62% of the tickets and 82% of the cash on the Rangers, so to see a slight move towards the White Sox is interesting. This under is expensive. Very, very expensive. It opened up at minus 108 to the... Whoa, yeah. I guess not quite. It's hard to trust those early numbers that they're showing me on the site, but basically... I can tell you from 2:15 a.m., this has moved very, very quickly towards the under. It's now 7.5 minus 122. Why don't we see what FanDuel has done with this under here? They have it even more expensive, minus 124. They open this up. They open this up at an 8 at a flat pick'em. Wow, this is a heavy, heavy move towards the under. Heavy move towards the under. Sharpie says, looking to back to DeGrom, K-Prop as the books are ignoring the past history of just 17% strikeout rate versus projected lineup. Too much swing in the White Sox versus DeGrom elite chase contact. Life Ice says, line moving 15 cents towards DeGrom first 5. Is the road splits baked into the number because they're saying DeGrom has the advantage? I'd like to see that too. So let's go over to Pinnacle and then we'll move on from this game. I think we'll have enough information at that point. The price difference for first 5 and full game here, we got a penny. The Rangers are minus 107 full game. First 5 minus 123. Wow. Okay, well, let's see how expensive the first 3 is then going to be. This is obviously I've missed the boat. And it was my concern about DeGrom on the road. And now I'll likely have to take it too. So it's 7.5 minus 120 to the under. So it's got to be, you would expect it to be like at a minimum minus 145 here, but I think it's more than that. I think it'll be minus 155. Let's take a look. So you'll have to, drop a minus 2 or under 2. The first 3 under is minus 170. Wow. Mark Sasowski, that first 3 under went from minus 125 to minus 160 on Caesars. Wow. Sharpie says if you think 2 starting pitchers shove it's the first 7, cash that in the Angels game last night at plus money. Huh. Well, I mean the books have tipped their hand, but you like to be ahead of that. You like to already like a spot, bet it, see the books tip their hand, and now I've been told by the books to make this bet, and if I want to make it, it's extremely expensive. Wow. So the first 3 under 2.5 is extremely expensive. What if I turn that into a first 5 under instead? That's an expensive first 5 under 4. Wow. Okay, well, I agree with you. The books are telling us that these pitchers are both going to shove here, and I think I should follow along. So I will do that. Now, I don't know if that first 3 under 2 is going to be too expensive or not. I've got to sit there and actually put the number in and make that decision. All right, that was a fun breakdown. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board for us is Orioles Cardinals. Why on earth has Liberatore not been listed in all the books, man? It doesn't make sense. Why did this line take so long to come out? There's just questions that I've not been able to answer here. We still don't have a pitcher listed at 365. I mean, why? Is there a chance that Liberatore doesn't go? Been waiting for this for a while. Let me get over to RotoWire. Does anybody have any thought that Liberatore may not go here? I want to fade Bassett so badly. But let's set this one up. First off, let's talk about the conditions. Busch Stadium, minus 8% runs, minus 14% homers, minus 6% doubles and triples, and plus 5% singles here. Rozwag says the White Sox have won each of their last 6 games as underdogs against AL West opponents following a home loss there. Another reason to back. BetOnline has Liberatore. God, I'd sure like to see it at more books. I'd sure like to understand why Pinnacle made this the last game that became available. And so last night we knew that Rozwag and AM were both really big believers in the over. I want to fade Chris Bassett badly. I'm not going to get in the whole diatribe that I got into last night. 5.08 ERA, 1.62 whip, 5.10 expected ERA. Swiggy has Liberatore on CBS, and yeah, I see that it's on RotoWire. I just want some of these questions to be answered for me here. But before we get into the questions that are answered, Swiggy, I got to switch it over to our group of... Okay, didn't switch it. Oh, yeah, I did. So let's get back here. We have our Stacks Play of the Day from Justin McKelvey. Stacks Play of the Day is in here, and it is on Burleson over 3 or more hits, runs, and RBIs. Stacks is in business. Stacks, 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 stacks. And so, a bunch of cappers talking about where Liberatore is listed, and Spooner saying that he's never had an opener used for him. So I just look. I mean, this isn't just giving out picks, right? I mean, I would have given out the Cardinals' first 5 yesterday, but for me, I just need to have answers to some of these questions, and it just did not. I could not understand why he's not. Why it was the last line to become available at Pinnacle, and why he's still not listed, and none of his props are up at 365. I just want to know that information. Let's talk about Bassett. You guys know how I feel about the signing. It couldn't be in a dumber signing. I cannot even comprehend that these guys are getting paid so much money, considered experts, and would pick up a 37-year-old pitcher who's just thrown 570 innings for a division rival over a 3-year contract. I mean, You're never going to get that out of the. I won't get into it, but so of course look at how old he is, putting 200 innings up each year. Come on, and so he goes on the 60-day IL to have surgery to remove bone spurs from his back. Now we don't need to make the Gampy jokes. We save that for the crazy-eyed killer, but he's on. It's a huge surgery, getting bone spurs removed. He goes on the IL on June 30th. He comes out August 14th. Makes three rehab starts with AAA Norfolk. Doesn't have any swing and miss stuff at AAA Norfolk. Then his last start, he's had 2 starts. His first start versus the Rays, I told you guys, he had 2 whiffs. 2 in 88 pitches. Imagine throwing 88 pitches and only twice does the opposition swing and miss. Now, he's a crafty vet. You know who his Little League coach was. It was Matty Ice. It was Taint Play of the Day. Started the Taint Play of the Day, Matty Ice. Look, he's a crafty, thoughtful, intelligent pitcher, beloved in every clubhouse he's ever walked in. But, man, he needs to get pretty lucky. He needs these ground balls hit at fielders, which they generally are. We know what ground balls do. But he needs bounces to go his way. He's gone up against the Rays, and he was pretty fortunate, I thought, in that start to get out of it, unscathed. They did win that 6-5. He allowed 2 earned runs over 5 1/3. Then he pitched 5 2/3, allowed 3 earned runs at home versus the Yankees, and I pushed that first 5. So Turnbuckle Tommy says, I feel like the Orioles bats are more trustworthy versus left-handed pitching, and he says he definitely doesn't trust Liberatore. He says everyone's on the Cardinals, the freaking Cardinals. He goes, give me the Orioles on an island. Is that the case because that would also make me uncomfortable. Is that the case here? So 65% of the tickets are on the Cardinals and just 11% of the cash. So big bets have come in on the Cardinals, and it doesn't appear that the line's moving. We're going to get back into that here in a little bit. Let's get into Liberatore. 5-11, 5.04 ERA, 1.44 WHIP. He certainly felt like he was moving in the right direction career-wise last year, and he has not followed suit with the performance this year. Liberatore was very, Liberatore is a pitcher that has looked quite good in 3 of his last 4 starts. He's got a lot of bad starts here on his resume, but, I don't trust. So, Turnbuckle Tommy says, I feel Oriole bats are more trustworthy versus left-handed pitching. They have power versus left-handed pitching. They're hitting 226, though, in the last 30 days versus left-handed pitching. 226 with a 697 OPS. It doesn't concern me at all. Cards versus righties, 250, 674 OPS. And these teams aren't hitting. The Cards' bullpen is a problem. The Orioles do have a clear bullpen advantage in this game. So let's take a look at the price difference. First 5 full game. If this line had to come out at a regular time, I would, and the Liberatore was listed at the books that I'm looking at, I would already be on the first 5. This full game is Cardinals minus 124. First 5 is minus 136. It's a perfect 12-cent difference here. When we get to these player props, I don't think that we're going to see one available here. Let's just see if Pinnacle has them up for Liberatore. And that is a negative. Why is he just... I know you guys are all comfortable that he's pitching. And I will be soon, I guess, here. The Sweaty Butcher in the house. Great to see you, Sweaty Butcher. So, look, I'm going to be on the Cardinals' first 5 as soon as I have some comfort as to why this was the last game posted at Pinnacle, why Liberatore is still not listed at the main offshores that I'm using. So I'm waiting for all of that. So St. Louis first 5 will be mine. We got Sweaty Butcher 15 days away from NFL Prime Cuts. DeJuan Turrentine in the house with his Grand Slam plays of the day. I will copy and paste that, but I want to fade Bassett so badly and watch him, weave his way out of trouble and challenge him. He's a very smart pitcher, but I will be fading him here. All right, and see, his MGM doesn't have Liberatore props. Very, very, very confusing. If But I guess I could list him at Bet Online now because they're saying he's listed at Bet Online, which would help. Okay, let's roll on. Next spot on the board, 9:38 p.m. Eastern. Cleveland Guardians at the Los Angeles Angels. We're at Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California. We have minus 2% runs, minus 2% homers, minus 5% doubles and triples, and plus 1% singles. I've already moved on unders in this game. I'm going to bet Walbert Urena first 3 and first 5. I'm just waiting for this line to continue to move towards the Guardians. Pretty simple situation. Every time that Urena has been at home, we've been moving on these 4-unit moves, these 4-unit bets with Urena at home. First 3 under, first 5 under, and then we've been backing the Angels first 3 and first 5. And there's no reason why I wouldn't want to hammer this again. And TV Jones says no need to not include the Angels bullpen. They're fantastic right now. There's a ton of truth to that. The problem is I don't want to have, I just want to focus on Urena and Williams. And I think that I have the better pitcher on the mound in Urena. I don't want to triple up on a total or a side these days. The most I'm betting are double ups. So I just want Urena out there. And I understand that I could have first 3 in full gamed it. But all I want is Walbert Urena. So let's talk about Gavin Williams first. So 3.72 ERA, 1.09 whip. I just hold him at I have higher expectations for him than other pitchers. And so he's not pitching that bad right now. But I also, he's not completed 6 innings in his last 4 starts. In those 4 starts where he's not completed 6 innings, he's allowed 9 earned runs. There's nothing wrong with that. He's allowed 4 home runs. He's walked 10. He's just not quite as dominant here as we've been used to. Again, I'm holding him to a higher level. That last start at home over the Giants, 2 earned runs over 5 2/3. He strikes out 11, walks 3. The start before that at home versus the Padres, he allowed 5 earned runs over 4 1/3. You question, is he dealing with some kind of arm fatigue? He's still, again, there's nothing wrong with those numbers. Walbert Urena has been the greatest gift. If I could just start fading him on the road instead of not betting him. And I don't think he's going to have a road issue. Overall, it's just that he's not getting any road opportunities. So you're seeing him, what 7 of his last 9 starts or whatever it is have been at home. I believe in Walbert Urena very, very much. I stayed off him at the Astros in that last start, but every time he's at home, he's been shoving. In his last 2 starts, he's allowed no earned runs over 12 innings at home. Last 3 starts at home, 1 earned run over 18 innings. Last 4 starts at home, 2 earned runs over 24 innings. I mean, he's just an absolute monster right now and must be backed. Thank you, AOD, man. Thank you for watching it. Great job, Toby Lane. You're running hot. It is the sky minus. Oh, no. Has it moved down that far? Was AM that right about the line moving? Okay, no. Okay, you just bet it as soon as it came out. Okay, that scared me. Because I got the 5.5 and felt okay about that. Spooner's first 3 under 2.5 minus 140 says as soon as he bet this, it moved to minus 130. Good to see it went back. I moved on the first 3 and first 5 in this one as well. But I had to use a 2. It was at the time it was minus 155 at bet 365. I had to use a 2 at minus 102. I have a first 5 under 4 at minus 123. So I have the first 3 under 2. And I'm going to be moving on these Angels first 3 and first 5. I just want to time it right. So let's go over line history here for this one. It had moved 5 cents towards the Angels on the first 5 at 365, but not at other books. Here we have it's moving towards the Guardians. It's moving in small increments, but it's moving. It's now minus 140 at Pinnacle, and first 5 is minus 139. So the Angels are plus 129 full game. First 5 plus 121. I don't see it moving that much, but it's moving slightly here. Jerry Davis says Urena's walks is the question. If he doesn't walk people, he wins. It may be pitching from the stretch versus a wind-up issue. Sorry. Let me move back to got all my notes here. Sorry. Slipped out of it there for some reason. Yeah, I could see some concern here with the walks. I mean, I still think that's more of a road situation for him. We have a pitching change for the Rays. Looks like a bullpen day, says K-Win. Thank you for the heads up. And Caesars has those first three available before anyone. Yeah, no, I have to open up a book there quick. And Sharpie says, metric-wise, this is the best matchup of the year for Gavin Williams. Says, I will be on his K-prop for 2 units. Oh, says, just not sure if it's a 2-unit or not. Says, waiting for the lineups for that. So here we go. Bullpen-wise, as TV Jones was saying, Angels bullpen 3.30 ERA, 1.32 whip, very strong. The Guardians bullpen is going to turn it on. We've been waiting for it. We expect it to happen here soon. 4.25 ERA, 1.37 whip. When it comes to the sticks, Guardians versus righties, 240, 652 OPS. Angels versus righties, just 220, 612 OPS. So neither team's hitting righties. So I think the time, I don't think I need to wait. The increments that it's moving on are so small. Let's take a look at what that first 300 is now here at 365. Williams, Urena. We have the full game under 7.5 now at minus 130. So the first five's now a 3.5 too, which is great. So to build a 4 on the first 5, I got the first 4 under minus 123 would be extremely expensive. Maybe not that expensive, but much more expensive than I paid. The first 3 here is still minus 155, so it hasn't moved off of that number. So there we go. Guardians, Angels. I think I'm in business. Let's take one last look at the cash flow. If there should be any concern for me adding 2 more units on this. 81% of the tickets and 93% of cash is on the Guardians. So I guess this line's just not going to move because it's come back. Wow. It's come back 2 cents at circa. I think it's time to just pull the trigger. So, and then I was hoping, I guess, this was my problem. I thought, could I wait long enough where I might be able to get, a first 5 plus a half on the Angels? And I can. Surprisingly. It's not that expensive. Minus 125 on the first 5 plus a half. Take the first 3 money line. So we are in business here. So I'm going to add the first 3 money line and the first 5 plus a half. And we are in business. Yes, he was sent back, Deacon. He was sent back. It was fun having him here, though. All right, let's roll on. Yes, GeoBed, 10-star play of the day for Rods Wacky. We'll go over all the specialty plays of the day here at the end. But, yeah. So let's roll on. Next spot on the board for us, 9:40 p.m. Eastern, Chicago Cubs, Arizona Diamondbacks, Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. We have Clay Holmes going up against my guy, Brandon Pfaadt. I know there's a lot of conjecture when it comes to Brandon Pfaadt. That was a tough situation for him and Peyton Tolley, 2 very good young pitchers, and they both got touched up. Pfaadt more than Tolley. Turnbuckle Tommy is on the Cubs money line here. The fact that this total went to move towards the over did throw me for a loop. We have these, conditions with the roof closed in Chase Field that are very comfortable for pitchers to succeed in. Clay Holmes, 2.49 ERA, 1.11 whip, 3.31 expected ERA. Of course, he was out with the fractured fibula. He comes back and he looks, really good. That first start, he didn't, but the last 2, he's looked great. And I don't put too much on it. First start in Kansas City at Kauffman, 4 runs over 4 innings. These last 2 starts, he's really good. 12 innings, 7 hits, 1 earned run. Hasn't allowed a home run. He looks very, very good. You guys know, what I think of Brandon Pfaadt. I think he's a really good young pitcher. And 3.39 ERA, 1.14 whip, and he was bad this year. He was bad. And they had him pitching out of the bullpen, and then they dealt with a couple injuries. They needed him to start again. They sent him down to Reno. He never complained being on the bullpen. He never complained going down to Reno. He did everything right. He's a high-character guy. He's loved in the clubhouse, and he pitched really well at AAA Reno. And then he was, beyond my wildest dreams, incredible in the show. He had 4 straight starts where he hadn't allowed an earned run. They have lost one of his starts since he's come back. So they're 10-1 in his start since he's come back up from the minors. That loss was a 2-1 extra inning loss versus the Dodgers, and he didn't allow a run over 7 innings. They somehow pulled out that win against the Red Sox. But I really like these young pitchers. Well, Clay Holmes not a young pitcher. Clay Holmes is an old pitcher. I really like these 2 pitchers. So why would this total climb? I don't have an answer for that. Now you could say maybe it's because Fought's vulnerable, and we can go over that line history and that the Cubs are hitting hard. And, you could drop that here. Diamondbacks bullpen also isn't very good. 4.31 ERA, 1.32 WHIP. Cubbies bullpen pitching, playoff style. 2.84 ERA, 1.08 WHIP. No, His Airness, the roof is never open this time of year. I don't even check it, but I'll check it for you here. It's just too hot this time of year. So here we go. It's gonna be closed every game right now. So let's get into the line history and let's get into the price difference here for the Cubbies here. And I've been staring at this line for 24 hours. We have an 8.5, slightly juiced to the under. It really doesn't make sense to me. The Diamondbacks are plus 100 full game. First 5 minus 106, so there's not really an advantage. It's just more juice here. A slight advantage. Cubbies are minus 108 full game. First 5 minus 108. When we get to that first 5, the first 5 under 4.5 being so cheap at minus 113, something's up here. Something's up here, man. Something's up in this game, and I just need things to correlate if I'm going to make investments in them, and it just doesn't work for me here. We have 71% of the tickets and 84% of the cash on the Cubs. 76% of the tickets and 93% of cash on the over. What's so interesting about all this here, though, and I didn't realize this, was that of all these books, we're looking at 8.5s right across the board. 8.5s. And yet Circa moves it to 8. Wow. At 9:43 a.m., they move it to 8. Leave it to Circa to just mess my head up. They have 78% of tickets and 92% cash on the over, and they move it to 8. Wow. One book and a sharp one. Troy says hasn't Fought pitched like Cy Young. He has. He has. He's pitched very, very well. And then so what would the idea being? Is the idea being this line is off, this full game line is off? I mean, I don't even know if that is. I guess that is. This should be exactly where it is. Like you could say, look, the Cubs are playing much better than the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are dealing with the Ketel Marte issue, but the Diamondbacks are 10 games over 500 at home. The Cubs are 8 games over 500 on the road. I mean. So I'm gonna have to sit with it for longer. I'm not gonna sit here and say, just because the one book Circa is giving you the best line in the over that I can move on my first 3 unders and first 5 unders. The first 5 unders should not be under 4.5 minus 113. It should be much more expensive than that. Jerry Davis says Holmes' lack of strikeouts makes me want to fade him and back Fought and the over. None of this just works. Now, if all the other books follow Circa's lead, well, then, okay. Maybe, but this move to the over, this cheap, first 5 under. Let's see what this first 3 under here, under 2.5 is quickly. And I got to speed it up. This. I know that it's so crucial for us to succeed. And, obviously I want to sit here and talk this out till I'm blue in the face. But the first 3 under is sitting here at minus 125 to the under. So, I want to be involved in this game so badly, but it's also much more important to succeed than it is to have action. So, I'm off the spot. Let's roll on. 9:40 p.m. Eastern. The Minnesota Twins 63-68, 28-37 on the road at the Athletics, 51-80, 23-40 at home. We're at Sutter Health Park in Sacramento, California. Extreme offensive conditions, not as extreme as we've seen here. But offensive conditions. Plus 29% runs, plus 32% homers, plus 23% doubles and triples, and plus 9% singles. We have Taj Bradley, 9-5, 3.90 ERA, 1.28 WHIPs. Got 3.94 expected ERA. Taj has been pitching, pretty well. He's had some hiccups throughout the season. He's lacked the ability to go deep in the game the last 3 starts. That wasn't a problem with him earlier. I mean, if we look at July, in July he has 4 starts, 3 of them he goes 7 innings. The last 3 starts. He's only gone combined 14 innings. He's allowed 9 earned runs, 2 jacks. He struck out 17 and walked 9. There's nothing wrong with him, but I know the Twins were right to pick him up off the Rays, but I'm not sure if the Rays were wrong, giving up on him necessarily. Mark Zasowski's on the Athletics first 5 plus a half. We got MMA locker room in the house. Gauge jump here. 5-8, 4.83 ERA, 1.51 WHIP, 4.48 expected ERA. It's been clear since this line came out and started moving. Clear here that the A's were the sharp side. But I can't back them. I can't back them even when the books say that they're the right bet. Let's talk about Gage a little bit. He's had some good starts. For whatever reason, they had to come up against Jake Bennett and the Boston Red Sox, which is strange. I do believe in Gage. I'm not entirely, sure what went wrong in his last start, or the start on the 5 earned runs over 4 innings. I guess you could say, look, the Royals are hitting right now. I trusted him in that start, and that blew up in my face and cost me money. DJ here has Taj Bradley over 1.5 walks is the best prop here for him. So, look, the A's bullpen's pitching a little bit better. 5.89 ERA, 1.56 WHIP over the last 30 days. Twins bullpen is going to come back to earth and stop being a 3-5 bullpen. They've been a bad bullpen all year. They pitched a little better for 4 or 5 weeks. I don't trust it here. And with Gage Jump's graphics still up, you can see that how bad he's been at home in comparison to on the road. Then, that start at home versus the Rangers was a good start. Now, remember, the Rangers aren't hitting lefties. We just went over those numbers, like 230, 680 OPS last 30 games. This is a Twins team that's hitting 261, 746 OPS. There's no way I'm going to be on the Minnesota Twins here. I think it's very, very clear to all of us that the sharp side is the athletic side. I mean, it's one thing to acknowledge that it's a sharp side. It's another thing to actually bet it. We have the A's plus 136 at Pinnacle full game. First 5 plus 120. 16-cent difference is pretty legit. We go over to the board here. 89% of tickets, 89% of cash is on Minnesota. 63% of tickets are on the over, and 59% of cash is on the under. Circus got this at a minus 146. They opened the Minnesota minus 151. So the slight move towards the A's with all the money on the Twins certainly implies that the A's are live. But I don't want to bet them. I don't want to bet that lineup. I don't want to sit there and need that lineup to produce. Even if Gage Jump has a good start, he's going to get touched up for a couple. You're going to need the A's to deliver for you. So I'm off. I'm off. I mean, I would have to take a first 5 plus a half. Even if I took a first 5 plus a half, you would still need a run. A's first 5 plus a half minus 114. So, but I clearly understand that this is a sharp side. So I am still going to write down A's first 5 plus a half, but I'm going to put the asterisks and the question marks beside it and sit with it afterwards. And sit with it. This game doesn't start for another 10 hours, Let's just sit back or 9 hours. Chill. All right, let's roll on. Next spot on the board here is Philadelphia Phillies, Seattle Mariners, T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington. This game here, I wanted unders. But and after our breakdown last night, I wanted unders. But it's warmer. It's warmer in West right now. And you can see this is always such a run-suppressing park. And it's still the same kind of deal in San Francisco. But here we only have minus 3% runs because look at the weather. Weather's plus 5% runs and plus 8% home runs. That slowed me down here. And I can still get there. But the problem is that I hold such a bias of this being a run-suppressing park when it's not. I need to really recognize that that's the case. You guys know that I'm way higher on Aaron Nola than you guys. I've, had to defend him over the last month or so. 5.12 ERA, 1.42, but he's got 4.17 expected ERA. I can't remember the last time Aaron Nola pitched this well. I mean, how far are we going back? Pre-pandemic? So, so I like that his statistical profile says that he is not pitching well. TD Jones on the under in Phillies. I had the first 3 and first 5 unders queued, and I didn't press the button. I thought, you know what? It's warmer weather. Let's talk it out one more time. In Nola's last 5 starts, so we're talking July 28th and on, he's been excellent. He's allowed 8 earned runs over those 5 starts. In his last 2 starts, he's allowed 2 earned runs. He struck out 17 and walked 3. When was Nola's last K-walk situation? 17 and 3. He's just pitching at a high level right now. Now, let's talk about George Kirby. 4.18 ERA, 1.36 whip. He's got a 4 expected ERA. There's all this talk about, Kirby not being trusted and Kirby being faded. But do we need to even talk about his road starts? I guess we should, because look, 11 earned runs in his last 2 starts. He went 8 innings. He allowed 17 hits in those 8 innings. Everybody's seen that. But what if we didn't talk about his road starts? What if we completely left that off the cap? And we said, okay, well, his last start, he allowed 1 earned run over 5 innings at home versus the Rays. The start before that versus the Twins, he didn't allow a run over 7 innings. The start before that at home, he didn't allow a run over 6 innings. The start before that at home, he allowed 2 runs over 8 innings. Start before that was another quality start, 3 earned runs over 6 innings. We're talking great start after great start, after great start after great start at home. And it would completely change the way you look at Kirby if that's what you focused on. Now, look, I'm not telling you what to focus on, and you can take as much information as possible to make these decisions. I don't think it's, paralysis by overanalysis or think long, think wrong. I don't believe in those 2 adages at all. Mariners bullpen is the worst in baseball right now. 7.38 ERA, 1.66 whip. Phillies bullpen 3.86 ERA, 1.30 whip. When it comes to the sticks, Phillies versus righties 264, 759 OPS. And Mariners versus righties 241, 690 OPS. So that's our situation here with Philly, Seattle. Let's take a look at what's going on with the line history here and where the cash is and what the price difference is for 5 and full game. So let's start with the price difference for me, because I'd like to move on this. We have a pick'em, minus 104 each way, but the Mariners are minus 117 first 5. So that's a pretty big difference. You got a pick'em, and then you have a minus 117 and a plus 103 dog first 5. The first 5 under 4.5 is minus 131. It is expensive. It's minus 131. It's expensive. Let's just see what this first 3 under is as well. So we'll go back to Bet365 here, and we'll do our guess. This is a 7.5 juice to the over. This should be a minus 145, I would say, first 3 under. Now, if it isn't, I would have some concern. So let's see what it is here. It's just minus 125 to the under. It's very, very cheap to the under. Now, the question is, when it's very cheap to the under, can you explain it? And yeah, you have 2 pitchers with poor season-long statistical profiles. Now, again, I'm saying we have an advantage here because Nola is pitching very well. And, how much emphasis will an advanced model put on the last 5 games rather than the entire season? And then with Kirby, he's lights out at home and getting annihilated on the road. And again, how will a model weight the importance of home and road splits, some more than others? So let's get back to this cash flow here, and we'll see what Circa's doing with this one. When we get to the cash flow, you have 64% of tickets, 77% of cash on Philadelphia, 68% of tickets, and 75% of cash on the over. Well, I certainly want to get involved here. I want to get involved in these early unders. I want to stay away from the Mariners bullpen. I want to trust Nola and Kirby and deal with the consequences. Turnbuckle Tommy loving the under here. So it'll be first 3 under and first 5 under for me. And I just needed to talk it out one more time. And I'm comfortable here. Godfather says Schwarber over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Hasn't seen Kirby, but been hitting the fastball and sinker, and that's most of what Kirby throws. And Spooner says, interesting, the first 3 is the same price in Colorado, Washington. I mean, the real interesting part of that, for me, Spoons, is just the unknown of Adams for the Rockies. That's the unknown. But I can easily see how somebody would look at these two pitchers in Nola and Kirby and say they're going to get touched here. I mean, Nola's got an ERA over 5, Kirby ERA over 4. I mean, if you want to use simplified, pitching profiles, then these pitchers are arguably. I mean, where would you, so? I mean, Kirby and Nola, in my head, I could rank higher, but where would you rank them in the starting pitchers that are going today? I mean, certainly would be in the bottom half of the card. And Alvarez has got. If you look at Alvarez's season, you could make an argument that Alvarez is having a better season than Kirby. So I think I can explain that to myself. And I guess when I need to make a bet, that's all I really need to explain to, But yeah, I think I can explain it to myself, Spoon. So I'm going to move on. Okay, let's roll on. 9:40, shout out to Ricky Bobby in the house. That was the under 3 for the Phillies game, not the Twins game. Not the Twins game. Twins A, Sutter Health Park. Not that I'm on the over there. I'm just. Let's roll on. Pittsburgh Pirates, San Diego Padres got speeded up a little bit. We're at Petco Park in San Diego, California. We got a Skeens King start. And I came close to moving on the San Diego Padres last night, and I didn't. -7%. I didn't move on the game, though. I didn't flip. -7% runs, even 4 homers, -12% doubles, triples, and -6% singles. Godfather says, don't you feel like Kirby is struggling? Sure, he's struggling on the road, yes. But I can put a line through that. What, he's allowed 2 earned runs his last 4 starts at home? And he's coming back home? So I can comfortably put a line through that. No, not everybody has to. But yeah, so I will say, I'll say this. Governor, yeah, he's struggling right now on the road, and I don't care. So let's get to Skeens here. 9.11, 3.95 ERA, 1.14 with 3.17 expected ERA. His velocity moved slightly in the right direction in his last start. Got up to 96.7. It's still not where he wants it to be. He still doesn't look confident out there. I mean, he looks shook. So I've watched you guys make a ton of money fading him or betting overs, and I've been sitting on the sidelines, dealing with this vividness bias. Now, it helped me last start because they did beat the Tigers 4-3 against Job, but he had lost his last 4 starts. Well, he didn't necessarily register the L, but the team had lost his last 4 starts. Another thing is the last 3 games have all gone under. There's a problem with Skeens, and and he better start pitching better, we don't need to get into all those consequences that will happen in his life. Michael King, 8-9, 3.38 ERA, 1.17 whips. Got a 4.35 expected ERA. We have King, who's a pitcher that deals with arm fatigue at times, is pitching quite well right now. That last start, 4-2 loss at the Mets was very good. We cashed unders in it, 6 2/3, 2 earned runs. It was a 4-2 loss. Start before that, 3 earned runs, 6 at the Guardians. So he's had back-to-back road starts where he really handled himself. If we go back to when he was at home, he allowed 1 earned run over 6 innings versus the Astros. So that's 3 straight quality starts. And with just 1 coming at home, he's only had 1 home start over his last 5 starts. Over his last 6. Oh, my God. Over his last 7? Is that right? Oh, no, because the 728. The 728 I have at Colorado. I must have missed it out. I got to study that one. I got to make sure that's right. So I like the way King's pitching. There's no doubt about that. I like it. So let's roll here into the bullpens. Padres bullpen, 2.47 ERA, 1.06 whip. It's playoff ready. It's right back to where it was the first 8 weeks of the year when it's best bullpen in baseball. This was the best bullpen in baseball last year. We're seeing it again. Pirates bullpen, 3.38 ERA, 1.32. When it comes to the sticks, Pirates versus righties, 238, 682 OPS. They're not hitting them. Padres are 272, 775 OPS. My dude back in business, man. I love it. I love it. My dude back in business. Great to see you, man. My dude is back. I love it. Let's get into the line history and this price difference here for the Padres Pirates. We only have 1 MLB game after that, but I've got to speed this up. So let's get into the price difference here. I'd be very interested to see what's going on with it. We have the Padres minus 118 full game. First 5 minus 104. So the Pirates are plus 109, but first 5 they're minus 110. A 19-cent difference here. That's pretty big, and it's a bit of a surprise. The books are really respecting Skeens. Let's get into the cash flow. We have 57% of tickets, 55% of the cash now on the Padres. It was 62 and 52 an hour and 42 minutes ago. 76 and 88 on the under. Now it's 74 and 94. This is moving pretty briskly towards the under. I mean, they're implying here, they're implying that Skeens is going to pitch well. I don't see why I would want to believe that. Under any circumstances, why I'd want to believe that. The question is, I'd love to see some movement towards the Padres, and we're not really getting it, but it's not really moving. It's a 50-50 clip. Look, I think that the Padres are the bet here. But I thought that last night, and I still was afraid to pull the trigger. No, I'm not on the Rams to win it all, my dude. That's not a... Look, I was on it last year because the risk-reward was nice. I'm not on it this year, man. That's not... And the division's tough, and... No, but I haven't put out my futures yet, so I still got more work to do. All right, so let's roll on, man. Let's roll on. I'm really interested in backing the Padres full game. I'm not going to sit here and say the books are telling me that this is an under game. Skeen's going to pitch well. I'm all ears. I'm going to watch intently. I mean, if the books are right about this, I can start moving forward. But why would I try to catch a falling knife with Skeens? Let's move on to a spot that I have hammered. 4 units in play in Reds Giants. I'm a little nervous to look at the lines. Oracle Park in San Francisco, California, minus 4% runs, minus 23% home runs, plus 9% doubles and triples, and plus 6% singles. It's crazy how much I trust Adrian Hauser right now. It is absolutely insane. A pitcher that deals with fatigue. We're going to get into Singer first. Pitcher that deals with fatigue was sent to the bullpen. He looked really good in the bullpen. He didn't whine, he didn't bitch, and this is a perfect ballpark for him, and now he's pitching at an extremely high level. He's a very streaky pitcher. He's easy to fade, and he's easy to back when he's going well. He's either running real well or he's falling off here. DJ says, come on now, Rams. Look, yeah, they're the favorite to win the Super Bowl. You show me the gambler that bets the favorite to win the championship in the sport in the futures market. I don't know of one. I'm not one. There's nothing wrong with it if you think that there's a huge advantage of that number. But that's not how I play the futures market. So, look, they're the favorite for a reason. And Sharpie says Pirates team total under if you're afraid of Skeens. I think I'd rather just trust the Padres for a full game here. But I hear what you're saying, Sharpie, and it's a good point. Okay, let's roll here. So Brady Singer, 5-11, 4.72 ERA, 1.42 at 5.03 expected ERA. Brady Singer was really bad. Look, there's a reason why the Royals gave up on him. He was pitching really bad. The Reds skipped him his rotation, and he started pitching much, much better. He started, really pitching well. And I'm someone who's always sort of believed in him, and that's more of an eye test thing. That's not been that helpful for me. I've sort of, believe in him, and he's, started pitching very, very well. It's hard to really break down his statistical profile, I find right now, because it's pretty easy to say, look, I mean, it's quality start after quality start until that last start. Last start, he allowed 4 runs over 6 innings at home versus the Cardinals, and that cost me money. So it's easy to say here, look, he's not. But it was 3 straight quality starts before that where he went 6 innings in each. So, but they weren't the toughest situations. At home versus the Athletics, at the Nationals, that was offensive weather, and then at home versus the Marlins. But I think he's pitching fine. I think this ballpark suits him wonderfully, and this San Francisco Giants lineup is weak. Hauser was moved to the bullpen on June 6th. His last start before he got these last couple starts was June 16th. He moved to the bullpen, and then July was his best month. He pitched in 5 games. He pitched 18 innings. He allowed 4 earned runs. Opponents hit 194 against him. And I told you guys, I was like, look, I know this guy. I know these gas cans, man. Trust me, when it comes to gas cans, and obviously you can take it with a grain of salt because I might say very nice things about a lot of gas cans. He's bet on. And so now since he's come out of the bullpen, he was a primary and he started twice. He's gone 16 innings. He's allowed 12 hits, 1 earned run. He struck out 12 and he's walked 4. He's bet on right now. Giants bullpen 3.63 ERA, 1.46 whip. Reds bullpen 3.75 ERA, 1.31 whip. When it comes to the sticks, neither team's hitting at all, but the Giants are hitting harder than than Reds. Giants versus righties 242, 717 OPS. Reds versus righties 214, 675 OPS. So Robert Franklin says Giants first 5 moneyline. Singer wakes up and gives up 3 earned runs. Well, he often does that after 5 innings. But look, I get that. And also keep in mind those 3 earned runs in 6 innings are quality starts. They were not pointing and laughing at him. So I'm on the first 3 under and the first 5 under, but I'm also on the San Francisco Giants. So again, 365 giving out these weak ass first 3 lines, but I got first 3 under 2.5 minus 120. I got the first 5 under 4.5 at minus 116. I got the Giants first 3 at minus 125, and I got the Giants first 5 at minus 113. Let's take a quick look and see where these are right now. Here we go. So I'm nervous to look. So the Giants are still minus 107 full game. First 5 minus 113. This is exactly where it was when I bet it before the late show last night. Not too much to get excited about there. The first 5 under 4.5 is minus 117. I got it minus 116. Again, not too much to get excited about there. We take a look at this first 3 under here, and this one first 3 under, and I at least be minus 1. Can you give me minus 130? I got it minus 120. Just give me some CLV here. Minus 125, 5 cents. I'll take it. Doesn't make me sick. I will take it. So this is my biggest investment of the day. But the Angels will become the same investment. The Angels and the unders in that one, which I've already moved on the unders. So that is my card for Tuesday, August 25th. I came in with 11 bets. Jays first 3, Jays first 5, Milwaukee minus 1, Cleveland, LA first 3 under 2, Cleveland, LA first 5 under 4, San Francisco first 3, San Francisco first 5, Cincinnati, San Francisco first 3 under 2.5, Cincinnati, San Francisco first 5 under 4.5, Red Sox minus 1, and New York Mets under 8, minus 125. Godfather looking at the over 3.5 Ks for Mr. Hauser. There was a couple things that we didn't mention. I meant to mention. Pig milk play of the day is in, and it is the Rangers White Sox first 5 over 3.5. Pig milk is in. Rangers White Sox first 5 over 3.5. Ronnie Crawford's shotgun play of the day is the Texas Rangers. Ron Crawford backing Jacob deGrom, the Texas Rangers. We'll go over the rest of the specialty plays of the day here in a few short minutes. We're going to blow through WNBA pretty fast. Unfortunately, we just don't have the time to hammer it. We're 10-1 in our last 11 bets in WNBA, a 13% ROI, and I'm hitting at 59.1%, 78-54. Feels really good. The chat has been a huge part of all of this. So we got to work real quickly through this all. So let's roll. We'll start with the Chicago Sky, the Connecticut Sun. Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut here. So, you could have got that, Deacon. That could have pulled off, man. You could have made that happen. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We're sitting at 6.5. 6.5. There was some conjecture between AM and I to see if this line would come back or not. This was a 4.5 at one point, and even so, our guy Toby Lane got a 3.5 on the Sky. I got a 5.5 minus 115. At that time, it was 6s all over the place. You have 54% of the tickets on the Sky, 91% of the cash, 78% of tickets on the over, and 71% of the cash. This guy coming off having their 3-game winning streak snapped in a 113-90 home loss to the Fever on Sunday. They allowed the Fever to franchise record 18 threes. So I know that they're going to be protecting the perimeter here. This is all about this though. Natasha Cloud-Zara Stevens said okay games. They were eliminated from the playoff race, whatever. This is all about Layla Lekan leaving the team to join Team France for the FIBA World Cup. This is also, for me, about Nelson Ododa. Is questionable with a knee injury. I don't even know if she plays. Aaliyah Edwards is going to be back, which will help. But I expect Griner, Lekan, and Nelson Ododa to be out of the lineup. And the Lekan loss hurts a lot. It's a big, big loss. Justin McKelvey on the other side. Toby Lane's got Sky as his play of the day. A lot of people on the other side here of me with the Connecticut Sun. I think that this mass exodus for the Connecticut Sun, with Ododa being hurt but losing Layla Lekan's just gonna. I think they're just an absolute fade. So I am on the other side of that with you guys. Let's talk about Portland Fire, Dallas Wings, College Park Center in Arlington, Texas. The question here is how expensive should the Wings be? So our guy AM moved on the 7.5, which I get. I could get there. This is game 3 of a 6-game homestand. They've gotten over the FUD being gone, but it's a lot of points. They not only can clinch a playoff spot with a win here, but they'll break their franchise single-season wins record. And now I see 85% of the cash on Portland, and I know it's okay to move. But it's certainly getting expensive. I will only move if I get an 8.5. But when I see that much money on Portland, I think I can get in the way of this now. Again, I've had question marks around it for the whole time. And then the last spot on the board, Mystics, Phoenix, Mercury. We have Stacks Play Today, number 2 on the Mercury here. It's a very, very fishy line because they just released Bonner from her contract to let her sign with another team. So they released DeWanda Bonner. Kelsey Plum's coming back from her injury report, and now they can't make the playoffs at all. It's strange. It's a strange line. The Mystics, are 9-8 on the road, and they're 7 games over 500 overall. The Mercury are 7 games under 500 at home, and 11 games under 500 overall. It's a strange line to me. Now, AM says that it's that even +2 is, he has it at +0.7. I don't. I have this as a very, very strange line. So. I'm going to study it a little bit more, but there's zero chance I could be on the Mystics here. And you see with 60% of the tickets on the Mystics and just 30% of the cash. It's time to head over to the Daily Sesh with Dutch Boy Fresh, Dabby Cab, and Chapadelic Funkaroo. We talked about some of the specialty plays here. 9 Legacy play of the day. Oh, yes, flank stake play of the day is the Athletics money line. He's on the Fire +8.5 and the Sun +5.5. We both crushed yesterday. Wine Time Sports, Tigers money line, Diamondbacks money line, Guardians Angels under 7.5, Royals money line, and the Giants money line. Josh Witt, Barnburner play today. Astros team total over 2.5, and Alvarez over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. My hot Swedish girlfriend play today is the Red Sox money line. Rod Zawacki's 10-star play today is the New York Mets. Dewan Turntine Grand Slam play today is the Padres money line and the Cubbies money line. That is our show for today. Have a great time over with our guys on the Daily Sesh. Thank you guys so much for your support. Tommy, Justin McKelvey, Josh Witt, my dude back in business, Tony Trill, Nasty Nate. Thank you, Life Ice, DJ Alplega, thank you, Johnny Preston, Toby Lane, Spooner, Deacon, Robert Franklin, Billy Friedrich. Thank you guys so much. Let's go get this money. Thank you, Lychees. I'm excited to be back in business with you guys, man. Let's have a big week. A good start to the week. 7-4 plus 2.11 units. Something, nothing outrageous. Something for you to trust angles and attack the board, which is what we're doing right now. On behalf of all of us, Pub Sports Radio, thank you for your support, man. Thank you to Swiggy on the 1s and 2s. Let's milk these bookies, man. Let's milk these bookies. Milk them! Milk them! Leche. Hey, los bookmakers.
It's easier to sleep in the black when you're losing your ass and feeling so. You know what to do. Tune in to Pub Sports Radio. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's a roller coaster ride, you're gonna catch a bad beat. No problem, keep your head up and just bet the spreadsheet. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. All thanks to Jeff Slaughter, these shows have our backs. POD's always rolling, especially the stats. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. We got Jimmy, Jose, Debbie and the fam, Dutch wine time, Spooner and OG Wham. So hit the like button, don't say that you can't. If you know what's best, just put your money on tape.